What shrubbery?
Shrubbery.
What shrubbery?
Just me like looking at the city, oh so beautiful, ah, bah! And then like I get in an accident, and then like my head went back. Hello. 안녕하세요.
Hello.
보고 싶다. 반가워요. Welcome back to my channel. It's Yomi. I make college, art-related, and travel vlogs. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about
things that surprised me when I was in Korea.
And this is my friend
Namoo. I'm from Korea. Looking at the camera. I'm from South Korea. I grew up and studied a little bit in London. And now I'm here at Brown as a junior in hope to graduate pretty soon.
Yep. So that's why he has the accent a little bit.
Accent a little bit, yeah.
A little bit. Okay, so I saw him wearing the bucket hat, so I'm like, I gotta wear this too. So mine is from Korea, and his is from Korea as well.
That's right.
So I'm wearing, this is a Jeju,
돌하라방.
from Jeju-do.
That's pretty cool.
And these pants are from Myeongdong. So,
oh, you dressed.
and this jacket is from Yonsei International, the university I went to in Korea.
Yeah.
So, I gotta
And he's
dress
dripping.
for the spirit. Okay.
Dripping for the experience.
So I have a list that I'm gonna read, and you have to like react to it. Some of these things, like I don't know if you would have noticed these things because like you live there,
Okay.
or like what your opinion is on these things.
Okay.
So the first one is style. One thing that surprised me about Korea was people's style, and how like I don't want to say homogenous, but like blacks, whites, browns, like a lot of similarity in style. And what do you think about this? Do you agree or like?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. This is something that I'm very interested in, like regardless of whether just like talking on YouTube. It's like the difference in like how I dress when I'm in Korea to when I'm here in the US is very different as well. And I think having talked to quite a few of my friends, like apparently the way they dress really differs by where they are, right? I think there is a very strong culture in people wanting to kind of go with the trends, or whether when some celebrity is like wearing something, the price of that clothing like soaring, and yeah, exactly, and people wants to wear it. I think that kind of culture might be a little more deep into, like rooted into the way that Koreans work.
I met a lady who was living in Korea, and she was saying that like the same thing about like trends. Like I know like when I was in Korea, like I think Pokemon was trending like over the summer, so there was like a lot of Pokemon things and like Pokemon flavored ice cream, but people like being very mindful of how they're dressing and not like just like rolling out of bed. So like I met a guy in Korea, and he's like, I don't like to date American girls, only Korean girls, because American girls don't like take care of themselves.
Oh,
like they don't like fix their hair in the morning and stuff like that.
I mean, I know plenty of Koreans who don't take care of themselves, like in the way we're talking about as well.
Okay.
So I don't think it's I don't think it's something you could generalize to, like just being Koreans being clean and the West being just dirty. It's like yeah.
So you don't have to dress nicely.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
But I kind of went in cold turkey to Korea because I just wanted to surprise myself. So I didn't know much about Korea before I went. But this one is like people bowing like when they see each other. Like
yeah, yeah. We say it's the 90 degrees bow. Like I mean, I can bow like into the camera. Because for me, like I'm talking about Korea, but I very rarely hear from someone who like visited Korea as a foreigner.
What is like?
Yeah, exactly.
The third one is like, I actually was really surprised in this because remember I went in cold turkey, but like in college I have a friend who's Japanese, right? So whenever like we would go into his dorm, we'd have to take off our shoes. So I'm like, oh, that's interesting. But I didn't know it was the same with Korean culture. So then like as soon as I got into my hostel the first night, like they're like, oh, you can't like wear your shoes in the room. I was like, what? So they had like a locker outside where I had to put my shoes, and I couldn't wear them inside. So
like when I enter a friend's house, I ask them like, is this an Asian household? Like alluding to the fact like, am I meant to like take my shoes off or not?
Oh.
No, really, like we ask. At least I and my friends like asked that when we were entering, is this an Asian household? Because for us Asians, like wearing shoes indoors just does not make sense. I'm sorry, like sure we should like generalize it, whatever. It just doesn't make sense because whatever you're stepping on outside,
you bring it inside.
yeah, exactly. It's like
that's interesting. Yeah, so like I feel like in the United States, like I mean, the thing is you can't. It's hard to generalize any country, especially the U.S. because it's so big.
right.
But and there's so many different cultures. But like in the United States, like it depends on whose house you go into. If you like take off your shoes, like usually like if you go and you ask like, hey, do I have to take my shoes off? And most people usually say no, and you can just walk on the carpet with your shoes. So I noticed like in Korea, like when I was there and like someone would bump into me, whether on the subway or just like in the street, like someone like wouldn't say sorry. And I actually, wouldn't say excuse me. And I like actually like read a few articles about this too. That it's like not expected to say excuse me, or like do you agree, or have you thought of it?
Oh, I was about to swear. No swearing.
No swearing. PG channel.
Because like for me, having grown up in England since the age of 10, you know, like I learned about manners in England. You know, like we learned about like table manners, and we learned like it was like the crucial part of like what I learned, especially during my elementary school in England. You know, so for me,
you went to primary school.
I went when I was 10. Most of the time that you bump into someone and they don't sound apologetic or they don't say anything, is usually probably because they're more timid and shy than trying to be rude.
Trying to be rude.
You know?
Interesting. Yeah.
Like I mean, like that's the way I would try and see it.
Especially the Asian ones.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think most of them, especially if they see a foreigner as well, they might be like a little like intimidated or just like not used to.
And my teacher in Korea was saying it's also like not expected to hold the door.
I mean, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, there's definitely a difference to when I'm in England to when I'm in Korea.
Everywhere there are cameras, like everywhere. The CCTV.
Oh yeah. It's a weird, especially in Seoul. You were mostly in Seoul.
Yeah, I was mostly in Seoul. Well, yeah, I should specify that for the most part of my trip in Korea, I was in Seoul, which big cities are much different than if you're in the countryside. So
yeah, I mean,
the suburbs.
Yeah, Seoul as the capital city of Korea, you know, it's like the most populated. It's so densely populated. Like when you're in the city, like you feel it. Like I feel crowded, you know. CCTVs, but that might be one of the reasons why you feel like there's a lot of CCTVs too, because one, there are a lot, and two, because it's just a very small place.
Yeah.
And Korea, like another thing about Korea is very safe.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, I think it's very safe.
Yeah, it's really safe.
Yeah, because like people walk around like in like after midnight and like not usually like everything's fine.
Even like I noticed like a lot of women even like walk by themselves at night, which is like in some countries it's really dangerous to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, CCTVs.
Yeah, CCTV.
Yes, there are lots. Move on.
Yeah, there's so many. Okay.
Damn, this sounds
Huh?
I was like this, huh?
Slouching. Sorry. So basically, one thing about me is like I will randomly switch into like different accents, and it's not on purpose. And sometimes it's a British accent. So
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of British when you're with me.
Yeah, and it's never on purpose. So. The sixth thing I have is that restaurants have like breaks in the middle of the day. They have like 2.5 hour breaks. So like if you go to a restaurant, it'll be closed and it will open back up at like 3 o'clock. So like in the United States, I would assume in most places it's not like that. But in Korea, like you got a time when you want to eat at a place because like it may be closed for 2 hours in the middle of the day.
Is that not the case in the US?
No.
They don't close during the middle of the day?
No. I don't think so.
I mean, they usually have an opening time and a closing time. They don't have like a intermission kind of time.
Yeah, they don't have an intermission.
Yeah. There definitely are like for a lot of like more like higher end and definitely like good restaurants, they do have these break times.
But I feel like for fast food restaurants like McDonald's, I don't think they have those.
Yeah. Well, fast foods it's more like restaurants.
Yeah, and in convenience stores, like there's like CU, there's what is it, GS25?
CU, GS25. We have 7-Eleven as well.
Yeah, 7-Eleven.
Family Mart. We have a few, and amazing best thing about Korea is that there are so many convenience stores 24/7.
Yeah,
everywhere.
24/7. So it's
Every block.
And like I looked it up and I was looking at like I forget which convenience store it was, but I think Korea said there's like 7,000 of them. Let me look it up.
2.7 thousand GS25s.
That's like crazy.
Wait, is this it only in Korea? 15.
It's South Korea, right? There's a GS25 for every 3,295.
That's a lot of people in one GS25.
Yeah.
My friend got me this from Korea. He actually sent it without me even knowing it.
So this is something that I ate a lot in Korea.
Poki. Pepero.
It reminds me of like pororo.
Poro.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, poro. Do you know pororo?
Yeah.
How do you know pororo?
The big one.
Yeah.
In Myeongdong, there's like pororo everywhere.
Yeah. 모여라 언제든지.
No one.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Anyone guess what his real name is? Comment in the comments below.
But I have a Korean name. Namoo is like my English name. You can guess my Korean name.
Yeah, guess his Korean name. I actually have a picture of this to prove this if you don't believe me. So, something that really surprised me about Korea.
I'm scared.
If you go to restaurants, like on the outside, they have fake food on display, like showing what's in the restaurant. Do you know what I'm talking about? You do.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna.
Why you?
Because like my friends be gaslighting me when I be telling them stuff. Just a street food person, so he was making like ice cream and giving it to people. And like the display shows what the ice cream looks like, but it's like plastic or I don't know what it is. Right. So yeah. Anyways. A lot of Korea is just like shrubbery?
Shrubbery. What was shrubbery?
Shrubbery.
What shrubbery?
Shrubbery is like just like forests and stuff.
Forest? I mean the Korean peninsula, please correct me if I'm wrong, but from my knowledge, like around over 70% of the land originally is all mountains.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole peninsula, like north and south combined, like 70% of that land is all mountains, and it's very, very cool because there are obviously a lot of mountains still very like left in South Korea, and like that's why the hiking is such a san.
So yeah, like if you go outside of Seoul, like you can like just be driving, I don't know if like for hours, maybe for hours, and like there's just like grassland, and like there's also like farming and stuff, which I feel like when you think of Korea, you don't think of farming probably.
Outside of Seoul, right?
Yeah, because like if you think of Korea, like in like if you probably watch a K-drama, it's probably in an urban area.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Most of it probably is Seoul, but like probably 90% of it is in Seoul.
Yeah.
But we definitely like farming, like that kind of like rural life is definitely very prevalent still.
In like Korea, like I take a lot of taxis. I don't know if you've taken mini taxis before.
I have used taxis before. Yeah.
In Korea. Okay.
Yes.
Because like since I'm a tourist and like I'm horrible with directions, so I cannot use public transportation. So that was my biggest like problem in Korea was I could not get around. I would like go like mean to go to one city and I would go the whole opposite direction. So I ended up in Gangnam one day by accident, and I was like, how do I get back home? Anyways, so I get lost for like 2 hours every time. So I ended up taking a lot of taxis.
So I've been waiting for like those 30 minutes plus the 30 minutes that I was already lost. I've been waiting for over an hour here. I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I don't have water.
But one thing I noticed is a lot of the people who drive taxis, at least in my experience, were like older people. And they were Korean. Which is like in the United States, I feel like a lot of people who drive Ubers and taxis are people like who aren't always old, and a lot of times they don't speak English. So like I've been able to practice my Spanish and French a lot.
Oh, I see what you mean. Because a lot of them speak Spanish as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, specifically for South Korea, we don't have Uber.
Yeah.
It was a whole thing.
They have Kakao taxi.
It was a whole thing. Anyway, but we have, like you just said, we have Kakao. Definitely is a case. Definitely the people who drive are much older on average than here in the US. But I'm just wondering why that might be.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I feel like in US maybe driving a taxi isn't like considered a desirable job, which is maybe why, and Uber, which is maybe why a lot of like people coming from other countries get it. Because like if you don't speak English, it's hard to get like certain jobs.
Yeah,
so, like, yeah, I got in a Kakao. I'm pretty sure it's Kakao taxi accident. Like my first week, like Yeah, my
What
first
an
week in
accent.
Korea, yeah. So I was like, we were driving, I'm like, just me, like, looking at the city, oh, it's so beautiful. Ah, bah! And then, like, I get in an accident. And then, like, my head went back.
Ah.
And, yeah.
Are you okay?
You know the meme where it's like, my head hit the wall and, bah! No?
I began to pass out. Then my head hit the wall.
Yeah, I'm okay now. But I was like so worried because like I think I've only been in one car accident like when I was a baby in the US. So like my first week in Korea I was in an accident and it was like in a taxi and then the people didn't really speak English so I didn't know what to do and the taxi driver was asking me if I was okay and like they couldn't really communicate with me but then like this like nice Australian on the street came up and like he spoke English and he's like, oh, like, are you okay? And then they just drove away and got me another taxi. This one, pay attention to, because like if you don't know this, like you may think that people are like, I don't know, what am I trying to say? Is that like in some stores in Korea, like the people who work there will follow you, but it's not because they think you're gonna steal something. They just want to help you. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you mean. It's customer service.
Customer
And
service at its
you know,
finest.
it's something that I really don't like because I am someone who like very like likes to whatever I'm buying, you know, whatever shop I'm in, I like taking my time.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm gonna stand there and like think about it. Then I just tell them like, hey, I'm just here to look around. Like,
Oh, actually, funny story on how we met. So I was on the main green, which the main green is at Brown University, which yeah, the university we go to. So like it's like this communal space where a lot of people like they sit, they like play games, like they may like throw a football around, like do homework, like even paint. So like I saw him walking on the main green and he was carrying this big board that he painted on. And it had like Hangul, which is like the alphabet on it. It had like Korean words on it. I'm like, oh wow, nice painting. I like the Hangul on it. And you're like, whoa, how do you know what Hangul is? And I'm like, oh, I studied abroad in Korea. You're like, oh, whoa, that's so cool. So then we talked, and then I went back to my dorm. And then like I go back out on the main green and he's painting. And then like we talked for like 2 hours.
Yep. Got the cover knot.
got the cover
I don't know if you're gonna agree with this one.
Okay.
But in like at Korea, especially in Myeongdong, I noticed like everywhere, like I get so insecure because everyone like you see like men and women, like young men and women, like there's so many people in relationship holding hands. It's so cute, but like everywhere I went, like I saw people holding hands. You agree with this or no? Probably not, right?
No, this is true. Like how people show that they're in a relationship more than like there are more people in relationships in Korea than the US. You know,
Just not want it.
you know, it's just like I think a lot of things in Korea are catered towards couples.
Like
So,
the book cafes.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of things are very much catered so that you could go with someone who means a lot to you, you know. And couples be holding hands apparently. I don't really know, but
So cute. Even when I went to Jeju, but I feel like that's like a tropical like vacation. I actually don't know what you're gonna think about this one. I feel like you have to like not be Korean to notice this, and also you have to speak French to know this. So like I noticed in Korea, there's so much French everything, so much French everything. I actually wrote this in my sketchbook.
like
So this is my Korean sketchbook. But anyways,
yeah, that's very
I showed
cool.
you.
This is so cool.
But anyways, this is Noel Harabang.
Mine is so cool.
And thank you, I appreciate it. This is Michon Cave in Jeju. Anyways, so I wrote down like so many French things that I saw in Korea.
Yeah.
There's Mardi Mercredi, which is like a clothing brand. You know what I'm talking about?
I did not know that.
Mardi
But I know
Mercredi.
Mardi is like French, but I didn't know that was a clothing brand.
It means like Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's like a lot of people in Korea will wear shirts that say like Mardi on it, which is like Tuesday, which I guess isn't that bizarre. But to me, it's just like, why does your shirt say Tuesday on it?
I mean, like, if you think about it the other way, like, if you're in France and there's a company called, 월요일, 화요일, you know, and that's Korean, like, Monday, Tuesday. I guess, like, and that's, like, written out in Korean, but
cool.
it's a French company.
Yeah.
I guess, like, that in that way, if you think about it like that, then you see why Yomi is, like, kind of, like, flabbergasted.
I'm like, flabbergasted.
Gasps.
But like people would wear French shirts and like it would like allude to the French language, but it wouldn't actually be French. So like it'd be like an accent like that like exists in French, but it'd be like on a letter that doesn't have an accent ever.
In French, magnificent is not magnificent, it's either formidable or magnifique.
And like
Ooh, I'm actually interested. What are
like for instance, like look, the magnificent, you see how the accent is on the G?
Yeah.
There's never accents on the G like that. So it'd be interesting. Or like they like have stuff that's like spelled incorrectly. Like je te souhaite, but like they wrote like je te souhaite, which is like spelled incorrectly. So I noticed a lot of things. And then there's like Paris baguette. It's like French like bakery.
Paris Baguette is actually a company that was founded in Korea, and the funny thing is that when you walk in, the clerks, they literally have on berets and they have on black and white pinstriped shirts.
And then there's Paris croissant.
Paris croissant. Yeah.
I like the way you say it.
Yeah, Paris croissant.
Paris croissant. And then how do you say Paris baguette?
Paris baguette.
Paris baguette. That one almost,
Paris baguette.
that sounds French.
Paris baguette.
That's not how to say in Korean.
That's Korean. Paris baguette.
That's like correct.
Paris baguette.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and there's this character like
Careful.
yeah. I don't know if you've read
Why are you hiding it from me?
I don't know if you've read the book Le Petit Prince, The Little Prince.
The Little Prince. Yeah, I read it in Spanish.
Oh, you read it in El Principito?
Yeah.
So in like, it's a like popular French like children's book that's like kind of, I don't know the word, like philosophical in a sense, but it's like the most translated, I think one of the most translated books aside from the Bible. So like many different cultures have Le Petit Prince in their language, but like in Korea, like there's a lot of like Le Petit Prince things, like restaurants and like
Oh, really?
theme things. Like even like there's like a little France in Korea. There's like a French town, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a town, and there's like even like Le Petit Prince is there.
We have a lot of French, like Yomi pointed out, but like English, really like any kind of like Anglican, like a lot of like we have a lot of English. You walk down the street in Korea, like half the things are written in English.
Yeah, but like yeah, even like the McDonald's and the Burger King, it's in English. It's like it's not like in Hangul in the like Korean alphabet. So like there's so many things that are in like what is that one? To some place. There's
To some place, yeah.
Oh, I missed that. There's like so many restaurants, which kind of
We have a lot of cafes as well. Cafe is so big.
So popular.
So big. It's like on every block you'll definitely see a convenience store.
Yeah.
You'll definitely see a cafe.
So every time I go to a cafe, I get the green tea latte. So if you go to, I think it's a To Some Place, maybe a different one, but get the green tea latte. Anyways, so the next one is Nightlife. And one thing I noticed in Korea is like I was very surprised by this because like I feel like in most places in the US, if you're not like a big city like New York, I mean like I was in the big city. So if you're in the countryside of Korea, there's obviously nothing to do. But like if you're in Seoul, like it's so catered to young people, like in the sense that like there's karaoke shops everywhere, there's bars everywhere, there's clubs everywhere, and there's just stuff to do. Like if you walk around downtown, it's just so fun. Like there are downtowns in like Orlando and stuff, which like it's nice and pretty, but it pales in comparison to Korea. There's just so much to do, and like you can always find something to do every day.
Literally, like I know New York is meant to be this city that never sleeps, right?
Yeah.
But like Korea is like Seoul especially is. It's a different level. Like I've been to New York. I was in New York like a few weeks ago. You know, like sure, like it's loud until like the morning. Like there are some things that are open. There are like halal like street food. In Korea, like yeah, there are like a lot of like different places in Korea. I say that's like in Korean it's called hatpul. Hatpul. So it's like it's adding hat like hot and place like hatpul. It's like hatpul. But it's like the hot places to go, like very like trendy places to go. It's so interesting because we almost like talked about fashion as a Korea as a whole, but for Koreans we talk about different fashion in these different parts of the city.
Oh, like it's different.
It is so different.
And there's that one store that's everywhere in Hongdae, and Playground. You know.
In Playground, yeah, the thrift kind of place.
Oh, I don't think it's a thrift store.
By the way, thrift, yeah, that's a thrift. That's like a Korean thrift.
Really?
Thrifting is so different in Korea.
Yes.
Thrifting is so expensive in Korea. Don't thrift in Korea.
It's literally.
It's like it's not the same concept of thrifting.
Yeah. Like, yeah, in Korea, like I was through it because like if you go to Hongdae, there's so many thrift stores, But what's literally in their thrift store is literally just American clothing that people have already worn, and it'll have stains on it, and it'll be vintage, and it'll be like
expensive.
yeah, and it'll be like $200, and it's like
it's meant to be thrift. Like it's meant to be.
it'll be something old from your closet that you don't want anymore. Like people would be surprised like if I would like say hello in Korean. Like I'd be like, my Korean is pretty bad, but I'd be like 안녕하세요, and they'd be like, you speak Korean? Like I say hello, like it's like me saying hola in Spanish and be like, oh my gosh, like you speak Spanish? Like how do you know? It's like you can literally look it up on Google. So people would be so surprised.
I think there are definitely different parts to it.
Yeah.
One being like Korea is very homogenous.
Yeah.
So whenever there's like a different looking or like someone from a different background like speaking Korean or like understanding or like wanting to be part of our culture, I think people are very welcoming.
That's good.
Like we really I can't say we. Like, I love it when people are interested in Korea and want to learn Korean. Like I'm a Korean TA here at Brown. I'm always like trying to like spread like the Korean love. You know, like I might not have to do it that much now that like Korean, like so many celebrities are like doing so well into like putting Korea out there. Any of you ever get a chance to go to Korea? Learn these words.
Yeah, 감사합니다. 반가워요.
안녕하세요.
And then say 보고 싶다 if you haven't seen someone in a while.
Or 보고 싶어요. Yeah. And you gotta be careful because there's a formal and informal.
I don't know the difference. Yeah. So I just say whatever. But you know what? Gotta hope for the best.
Exactly.
There's a few houses, but I went to Cheongdo-gung. I spelled it right.
창덕궁. I think 창덕궁. Wait, let me. I think it's 창덕궁.
Follow my art account at @it's_yomi. So I posted on my page. I did this drawing of at Cheongdo-gung Palace. So what is it?
It is 창덕궁.
Cheongdo-gung. Okay, so basically,
keep going.
So basically, I like was walking outside of the palace because I went there to take pictures and like just like explore because it's so pretty, ancient like East Asian culture, Korean culture, so it was nice. So when walking out, I found this like hanbok place, but I thought it was like a picture studio. So like I went in to go see like they take pictures of people wearing hanbok. But it was like you rent the hanbok and you can wear it at the palace. So I'm like, let me look around. And they were like putting it on me, like, oh, try it on. I'm like, okay. So then like I rented it. I went back to the palace. And when I was wearing it, like everyone was like, oh my gosh, you look so beautiful. Oh, you're so pretty. Like they're so nice. They're like so happy that I was wearing the hanbok, like traditional like yangbang clothing.
Joseon Dynasty. Yeah. Hanbok is beautiful though. Like the silk they use.
Yeah. Okay. What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is my name, Namoo.
Spell it out.
NAMOO.
Where's it gonna be? Hopefully here.
And then there are a few like underbars. If you can find me, just have a look at my art.
Underbar.
Yeah.
Is that what they say in England?
What you guys say?
Underscore.
I don't know, man. Underbar, underscore, whatever. Whatever, bro. Like,
I didn't look this up, bro.
But NAMOO with 5, I think, underbars.
Yeah, he has a lot of. The underscore is also known as an understrike, underbar, or underline.
Underbar. I'm gonna push that. Underbar. But yeah, have a look.
He is educating me. Thank you, brother. My brethren. This is my bro. King Namoo. Okay. Bye. What do I say? 안녕히 가세요 or
안녕히 가세요.
안녕히 안녕. Can I just say 안녕?
Yeah.
안녕. 감사합니다. 보고 싶다.